So good morning to all of you. I think all of you have the syllabus with you. Let us first go through the syllabus and then look at other things. First of all, let us see why public administration is very important from your examination point of view. This optional, this subject is very important from your examination point of view, and that is the reason why maybe from next year or later UPSC will make public administration compulsory subject and remove all other optionals. These are the recommendations of some of the committees of UPSC. They said that make public administration compulsory and remove all other optionals. So let us see why it is very important, this optional of public administration. Why? Because tomorrow all of you are going to be administrators. Now, whether you are an IAS officer or IPS officer or a foreign service officer, you are going to be administrators, and you should know what is administration is all about. And more importantly, once you go to these training institutions, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, or other training institutions, they will be teaching you only administration and nothing else. In 1987, UPSC introduced this public administration optional. It was introduced very late, and after that it had become very, very important from the examination point of view. If you look at in the last 4 years, especially from 2013 onwards, almost all your papers of general studies are linked to administration, especially 2017 mains. With your knowledge of public administration, out of 1000 marks in your mains, you can easily answer minimum 800 marks, only with your knowledge of public administration. Why? Because as I said, UPSC has taken a conscious decision to make the whole syllabus more administration oriented. You are not going to be engineers, you are not going to be doctors, you are not going to be accountants, nor lawyers, you are going to be administrators. So that is the reason why they wanted to see whether you have those skills or not, administrative skills or not. As we proceed with our syllabus, as we do these things, I will explain to you which part of the syllabus, which chapter is important for you from your mains point of view, general studies especially, and how to go about all those things also. So let us start with the syllabus. As you can see, this is divided into two papers. Paper 1 is mostly the theory part, whereas paper 2 is Indian administration. And paper 1 and paper 2 combined together, you have 26 chapters. Out of these 26 chapters, only 4 chapters are related to what you call theory part of public administration. Remaining 22 chapters are there in your general studies papers. So whether you are studying public administration or not, you must be studying all these things in your GS in different papers of general studies. Of course, those who have good knowledge of administration will be writing far better answers than those who don't have that knowledge. So what are those topics and how to proceed? That is what let us try to see. The first topic, if you look at it, introduction chapter, meaning, scope and significance of public administration. Whenever we study any new academic discipline, we always start with this topic only. You look at the syllabus of say sociology, philosophy, anthropology or psychology, any other topics, it always starts with this, meaning, scope and significance of public administration. We keep on talking about administration, we keep on talking about governance. We should know what is the meaning of these terms. We should know what is public administration. If there is something called public administration, then there must be something else called private administration. We should know the difference between them. We should know the characteristics of a public administration. we should know the values of public administration. We should know the unique features of public administration. That is why we study about these things. And the significance of public administration. Why it is very important? Why should we study public administration? What is the reason why, when you go to all these training academies, they only teach you public administration and nothing else. What is the significance of public administration? That is what we will be studying as part of these topics, meaning, scope and significance of public administration. Next, after that, we will look at the evolution of the discipline of public administration, how the discipline has evolved over a period of time, how it has developed over a period of time, the discipline of public administration. We say that it had come into existence in 1887 with Woodrow Wilson's article. That is the reason why it starts with Wilson's vision of a public administration. Woodrow Wilson, known as the father of public administration. What he had to say about public administration, how he had defined public administration, and how it has evolved from that time onwards, from 1887 till 2018. That is what we call evolution of the discipline. So that is what the next topic is about, evolution of the discipline and its present status. What is the present status of the discipline of public administration? So we talk about so many thinkers, so many theories, so many developments within this discipline of public administration from 1887 till now. So as part of the present status, you will be studying new public administration. This new public administration you will be studying extensively in your ethics, integrity, aptitude paper of your general studies. Next, public choice approach. This you will be studying in your Indian economy. Public choice theory is economic theory. And challenges of liberalization, privatization and globalization. Obviously, it is part of your economy. Challenges of liberalization, privatization, globalization, impact of globalization. And last year in your polity governance, 4 questions are from only this topic, challenges of liberalization, privatization and globalization. Impact of globalization on public administration. As I said, your entire GS paper is about only administration. How globalization has impacted public administration. What are the values of public administration? And then good governance, concept and applications. Again, a very, very important topic. If you have to define your entire syllabus of general studies in 2 words, it is good governance. Entire syllabus of your general studies is about good governance. This question was asked in your ethics, it was asked in your polity governance, it was asked as part of your social issues, it was asked in your essay, and it was asked in your internal security and disaster management of general studies papers. It is all about good governance. Even before last year also, I think the question was directly asked, important features of good governance in your ethics paper. So that is the reason why, as I said, this good governance is the most important topic, because it defines your entire syllabus. It is the soul of your entire syllabus of general studies. It will be asked in your essays. Good governance, concept and applications. We will talk about what are the features of good governance. We will talk about whether this good governance exists in India or not. We will see if it is not there, what do we have? Bad governance. What are the features of this bad governance? And we will also see what should be done. As I said, entire syllabus is about this concept of good governance. And finally, NPM, New Public Management. This is what you study in your General Studies Paper 3, Indian Economy, public sector enterprises, New Public Management. Okay. This is what the government is trying to implement as part of banking sector reforms. If you are reading everyday newspapers, a very, very important topic. So this is what the first chapter of our syllabus is all about. Second topic, once you go there, this is what the crux of our syllabus, administrative thought. Second topic. Here we will be looking at various thinkers and their theories. So many thinkers had come out with their theories in public administration. and what do they have to say about their thoughts. And we will be looking at all of them. Again, as I said, most of them you find them in your general studies. First one is scientific management and scientific management movement. Frederick Taylor's scientific management theory, a very, very important theory that we study in public administration as part of organizational theories, administrative thought. Then we will look at classical theory, Henry Payel and others, classical theory. Then we will study Weber's bureaucratic model, its critique and post-Weberian developments. This Weber's theory is there in your, again, all papers of GS. Entire paper 2, polity governance, is about Weber's bureaucratic theory. And in your ethics paper, almost every year, Max Weber is asked. Even before last year also, the question was directly asked about Max Weber and his bureaucratic theory of formation. Very important philosopher. In ethics paper is about philosophers only. Max Weber is asked. So, if we have to talk about the most important theory is Weber's bureaucratic theory, because as I said, entire ethics paper of 250 marks depends on his theory. If you understand his theory, you will be understanding ethics better. And entire public administration depends on Weber's theory, bureaucratic theory of formation. And post-Weberian developments, what happened after Max Weber had come out with his bureaucratic theory of formation, post-Weberian developments. Then you have dynamic administration, MP Foley. MP Foley statements were given as topics in your essay paper, her statements. One of the most important thinkers, and you have to use her extensively in your ethics paper, MP Foley. They are all thinkers, they are not related to public administration or anything like that. They are thinkers and you have to use their thoughts in your answers. As I said, almost on a routine basis, her statements are given as topics in your essay. Very, very important thinker. Mary Parker Foley, dynamic administration. Then human relations school, Elton Mayo and others. Again, a very important thinker. And his theory, again, we will be using extensively as part of civil services reforms, bureaucratic reforms. We will talk about him. Then Chester Barnard, functions of executive. Again, we will be using him extensively in, you should be using him extensively in all other papers of GS, because his theory is extremely most relevant for present day circumstances. Next, Herbert Simon's decision making theory. He got a Nobel Prize in economics for his decision making theory, a very, very important thinker. Then participative management. As part of participative management, you are talking about Francis Likert, Chris Argyris and Douglas McGregor. Again, you have to use their thoughts extensively in your essay and ethics papers, because their thoughts are so creative, so noble, so innovative, that if you use them in those papers, obviously you will be getting a very good reward in the form of better marks. Then the next topic of our syllabus is administrative behavior, processes and techniques of decision making, communication, moral, motivation theories, content, process and contemporary, theories of leadership, traditional and modern. Again, most of them you will be studying in your ethics paper. These things will be there, especially the leadership and motivation theories. You will be studying them, and of course, we will see how we are going to use them in your ethics paper while writing answers. So, after completing these topics, introduction, administrative and thought and administrative behavior, we will go to the next topic, that is comparative public administration. You can see that one. The last topic on your first page, comparative public administration. Here, historical and sociological factors affecting administrative systems, administration and politics in different countries, status of comparative public administration, ecology and administration, Rixian models and their critique. So what are we covering here? Here we will be covering a good amount of your world history as part of this. Historical and sociological factors affecting administrative systems, administration and politics in different countries. We will be talking about right from Industrial Revolution to the Second World War. We will be studying a good amount of your world history, a good amount of your IR, international relations, international politics, administration and politics in different countries. We will be studying about this. After Weber, the most important thinker is Friedrichs, Rixian models. After Max Weber, he is perhaps the most important thinker for your entire general studies papers. Routinely, his statements are given in your general studies papers without people knowing that they are his statements. Very, very important thinker, because whatever he had said, he had observed the conditions in India and he had come to the conclusions. So obviously, we can easily connect with what he had said. Rixian models. As I said, whenever you are writing answers in all papers of GS, you are using only his models. His questions are routinely asked in GS, paper 1, 2, 3 and 4. In all the papers, they are routinely asked. Very comprehensive model. So we will be studying all these things as part of this topic. After completing this, we will go to the next topic, that is development dynamics, an extension of comparative public administration. Development dynamics. What are we studying here as part of development dynamics? Concept of development, changing profile of development administration, anti-development thesis, bureaucracy and development, strong state versus market debate, impact of liberalization on administration in developing countries, women and development, the self-help group movement. So this is what this development dynamics is what UPSC has defined as per the syllabus of your general studies paper 1, 2, 3, 4. Women and development and self-help groups, you will find them in social issues of paper 1. It is there in polity governance. State versus market debate is there in your economy. Impact of globalization on development, the impact of globalization on administration is there in polity governance. And more importantly, all of them are there in your ethics paper as part of case studies. All of them are there. And of course, every year at least 2 essays will be from this topic only. 2 essays. This year also two essays were asked from this topic. One is about women empowerment. Second one is about impact of globalization on center state financial relations. So a very, very important topic from our examination point of view. So as I said, it defines the entire syllabus of our general studies, development dynamics. As I said, UPSC maybe maximum, most probably next year they will be changing the syllabus also, remove all the optionals, because optionals are giving undue advantage to the people, giving undue advantage to the people. People who are getting good score in optionals are the ones who are getting top ranks, not in the general studies. It is not creating level playing field. That is the reason why they are planning to remove these optionals and make administration compulsory. They remove public administration also and remove public administration from optional, and they will make it part of general studies. General studies paper will have 6 papers instead of 4 papers that you have now. And they will remove the optionals. And of course making administration compulsory. That is what they will be doing. So coming back here, the syllabus of public administration is such that, as I said, it covers the soul of your general studies paper. Next, after development dynamics, after doing this, we will go to other topics like public policy. Look at this topic, public policy. models of policy making and their critique, process of conceptualization, planning, implementation, monitoring, evaluation and review and their limitations, state theories of public policy formulation. Again, a very, very important topic from your examination point of view, public policy. Why? Because as we keep on saying, entire syllabus is about policy formulation, implementation and evaluation. It can be economic policy, it can be agriculture policy, it can be education policy, it can be health policy, it can be policy related to internal security, it can be related to policy related to disaster management. So we should know how the government is formulating policies. We should know what are the weaknesses in implementation of policies. We should know what are the weaknesses in the evaluation of public policies, and we should know what should be done to improve public policy formulation in India. Because tomorrow, once you get into services as administrators, during the early stages of your career, you will be responsible for implementation, and as you move up to higher echelons of a bureaucracy, you will be responsible for policy formulation once you go to the secretariat organizations. So you should know how these policies are formulated and implemented, and you should know what are the major lacuna in policy formulation and implementation. So this is what you must be knowing about public policies. That's why this is there in your general studies paper 2 also, in polity governance paper, policy formulation and implementation. Of course, in general studies you will not be reading the theories, you will be talking more about practical aspects. So public policy, this is what we do, and then after doing all these topics, rest of the topics we will be doing along with Indian administration, because all of them are interlinked. Rest of all the other topics are linked to Indian administration. Let us see how we are going to proceed with them. After doing all these things, then we will go to Indian administration. Start with evaluation of Indian administration. Kautilya's Arthashastra, Mughal administration, legacy of British rule in politics and administration, Indianization of public services, revenue administration, district administration and local self-governments. Kautilya's Arthashastra, Kautilya was asked in your ethics paper. Very, very important philosopher, very, very important thinker, Kautilya. We will study about his Arthashastra, how relevant his Arthashastra is for present day administration. Mughal administration, this again you will be studying as part of your history also. We will be looking at administrative aspects of Mughal administration, not the historical aspects. And of course, British administration. Few years back, this British administration was asked for impact of British administration, colonial rule on Indian administration. It was asked for 250 marks in your essay. Last year, I think, last year or before last year, it was asked in your polity governance paper, impact of colonial rule on bureaucracy in India, bureaucracy, administration in India. A very, very important topic, because once we know how the British administration had shaped, evolved, we will come to know about the weaknesses in our present administration. Especially, as I said in your ethics paper, it is all about colonial attitudes. It is all about colonial attitudes. What are these colonial attitudes of our bureaucracy? What are these colonial attitudes of our administrators? And in what way these colonial attitudes are coming in the way of the growth and development of the country? As I said, this was asked for 250 marks in your essay. A very, very important topic. As part of British administration, you are talking about revenue administration, district administration, local self-governments, and secretariat administration, civil services, so on and so forth. Very important topic. And the rest of all the other topics in your Indian administration are there in your polity governance paper. Syllabus is exactly the same. Of course, in Indian administration, you will be studying more than what is there in your polity governance paper. What are the topics? Philosophical and constitutional framework of government, silent features and value premises, constitutionalism, political culture, bureaucracy and democracy, bureaucracy and development. So again, if we have to define the entire syllabus of your polity governance paper with a single word, it is constitutionalism. The entire syllabus is about constitutionalism. We know about what is constitution, but what is constitutionalism? And in what way this constitutionalism plays a very important role in making our administration accountable and efficient. That is what we will be studying. So very, very important topic. Political culture. And as part of political culture, you will be studying about the kind of political system that we have. You will be studying about how the political system evolved in India over a period of time. You will be studying about the functioning of political parties. You will be studying about the political attitudes. A very important topic in your ethics paper, political attitudes. Almost you will be studying the same thing in both the papers. And this year in your prelims also, most of the questions are about this constitutionalism and political culture in prelims, in polity paper. They are not asking questions from what you call the static aspects of a polity. They will not be asking questions from D.D. Bose or Lakshmikant. They will be asking the dynamic aspects of administration, including political history of India, how the political system has evolved. Then we will go to the next topic, that is union government and administration. Union government and administration. We will go to the next topic. Here you will be looking at executive, parliament, judiciary, structure, functions, work processes, recent trends, intergovernmental relations, cabinet secretariat, PMO, central secretariat, ministries and departments, boards and commissions, attached offices, field organizations. This is the crux of your entire Indian administration as well as the polity governance paper. You will be studying about the three organs of the state: legislature, executive, judiciary. The relation between these three organs of the state. We will be studying about them separately, and also we will be interlinking them. Then we will be talking about how these three organs of the state have performed over a period of time since independence, whether they have fulfilled the aspirations of the people or not, whether they have reached the standards that people had expected from them or not. This all these topics are highly contemporary topics. First we will look at the static aspects, and you would be focusing more on the dynamic aspects of all these topics, whether it is legislature or executive or judicial. And from this topic itself, union government and administration, in your Indian administration as well as polity governance paper, you have minimum 150 to 200 marks, only one from this topic itself, combined together, including ethics paper. Very, very important topic. After union government and administration, then we will go to state government and administration. Next page. As part of this, we will be looking at union, state, administrative, legislative and financial relations. And you will be looking at role of finance commission, governor, chief minister, council of ministers, chief secretary, state secretariat, directorates. You will be looking at all these things. State government and administration. Again, as I said, a very, very important topic from your examination point of view. Both polity governance, essay, and you have your Indian administration. From all these topics, you have a very good number of questions. As I said, before last year, one essay topic was asked, cooperative federalism, and last year, impact of globalization on center-state financial relations. So every year, one topic will definitely be there, in your essay from this chapter every year. So 125 marks there, and then in Indian administration at least minimum 50 marks, in polity governance minimum 50 marks. Very, very important topics. So when we are doing these things, as I said, we will be completing those topics of your general studies also invariably. Next, after state government and administration, then we will go to rest of the topics. After that, we will take up another important topic, that is financial administration. After doing that, financial administration. As part of financial administration, you are talking about 4 topics. Paper 2, 2 topics, and paper 1, 2 topics. What are they? In paper 1, the last topic, last chapter in paper 1, you can see the last chapter in paper 1. Monetary and fiscal policies, public borrowings and public debt, budgets, types and forms, budgetary processes, financial accountability, accounts and audit. You must remember that there is no administration here. It is nothing but Indian economy of your general studies paper. Monetary policy, fiscal policy, budgets, all this is a pure Indian economy. If you look at your general studies Indian economy syllabus, it starts with budgets. Every year one question will always be asked about that. So we will be covering a very good amount of your Indian economy as part of this. Monetary policy, fiscal policy, budgets, borrowings, public debt, and financial accountability, accounts and audit. Then we come to Indian administration. In Indian administration, the 3rd chapter, public sector undertakings. Public sector in modern India, forms of public sector undertakings, problems of autonomy, accountability and control, impact of liberalization and privatization. Again, this topic is purely economy topic, public sector enterprise. Every year you have 1 or 2 questions from public sector enterprise in your Indian economy general studies paper, and we will be covering extensively. Then plans and priorities, you can see that one. On page 3, the first topic, plans and priorities. Machinery of planning, role, composition and functions of the Planning Commission and NDC, National Development Council. Indicative planning, process of plan formulation at the union and state levels. Constitutional amendments and decentralized planning for economic development and social justice. Again, topic is mostly economy. Planning is a very important topic that is there in your Indian economy. If you look at the syllabus of your GS Indian economy. Of course, at present we are not talking about Planning Commission because it no longer exists. We are not talking about NDC because again it no longer exists. We are talking about indicative planning. We are talking about Niti Aayog. We are talking about 73rd, 74th amendments, decentralized planning. The 73rd, 74th amendments, it is there in your general studies paper 2 as well as 3 as part of rural development and other things. A very, very important topic. And these things you find them in your ethics case studies also. Very important topic. So this topic we will be doing as part of financial administration. The last topic we are doing as part of financial administration is the topic of financial management. You can see the topic, the 5th chapter in the syllabus on page 3, financial management. Here you are looking at budget as a political instrument, parliamentary control of public administration, public expenditure, role of finance ministry in monetary and fiscal arena, accounting techniques, audit, role of CAG and CGA. Very important topic from your examination point of view. The CAG was asked in your polity governance before last year. This year, parliamentary committees was asked in your polity governance paper. So every year, at least 2 questions will be asked from this topic. in your polity governance. A very important topic again, budget as a political instrument. And budgetary reforms, and then reforms in the functioning of committee system, parliamentary committees, they are routinely asked, and they will be asked in your prelims also. They used to ask these kind of questions from in your prelims also, prelims polity. So these four topics combined together, we call it as financial management. As I said, here there is very less of public administration and more of your Indian economy. After covering these topics, then we will go to another set of four topics, civil services. What are the topics that we are covering here? We will start with in paper 1, personal administration, on page 2, second chapter. On page 2, second chapter, personal administration. We will be looking at importance of human resource development, recruitment, training, career advancement, position classification, discipline, performance appraisal, promotion, pay and service conditions, employer-employee relations, grievance redressal mechanisms, code of conduct, administrative ethics. Almost all these topics are there in your ethics as well as polity governance paper. Routinely the questions are asked. This year in your polity governance, the question was asked, civil services reforms. Ethics paper is all about this topics on administrative ethics. Ethics is all about civil services, your ethics paper. Of course, we will be studying these things in a more extensive manner. You must have seen in today's newspapers, government had given an advertisement asking for people to apply for positions at the rank of joint secretary level in the government of India. What you call it as lateral entry. Lateral entry was asked this year in your public administration in both paper 1 and Indian administration. And lateral entry, I think, was asked in your polity governance paper also. A very, very important topic. This is very important from your, as I said, GS point of view. And this year, one of the most important topics for your essay will be civil services reforms. Very important. So we will be doing this topic. Then we will go to paper 2, civil services in Indian administration. Civil services topic is there. It is on page 3, 4th chapter. On page 3, 4th chapter. You will be looking at constitutional position, structure, recruitment, training, capacity building, good governance initiatives, code of conduct and discipline, staff associations, political rights, grievance redressal mechanisms, civil services neutrality, civil services activism. Again, highly contemporary topics. As I said, you find them in your both paper 2 and paper 4 of GS, all these things. Very, very important topic. Again, as I said, to understand all of them, you must understand Max Weber's bureaucratic theory of organization, because our civil services is modeled on Weberian bureaucratic theory. That is the reason why we talk about civil services neutrality. That is the reason why UPSC included this paper, ethics, civil services values. If you understand these things, you will be doing very well in your general studies. After doing this, then we will go to the topic administrative reforms since independence. As you can see, as part of this, you are looking at major concerns, important committees and commissions, reforms in financial management and human resource development, problems of implementation. You will be looking at all these things. Administrative reforms. Again, very important topic from our public administration point of view, because questions will be asked regularly about from this topic in your both paper 1 and paper 2, administrative reforms. Very, very important. Of course, you will have lots of questions in your polity governance paper also about administrative reforms, or what you call civil services reforms. And administrative reforms include everything: economic reforms, political reforms, civil services reforms. It includes financial sector reforms. It includes reforms in the society, social issues. You will be studying about all these things. Why they have not been successful in India? The government is talking about implementing so many reforms. Whether it has implemented all those reforms or not. If it has not, why it has not implemented? If it has, why they have failed? That is what we will be studying. Then we will come to the paper 1 and look at the topic techniques of administrative improvement in page 2, 4th chapter, techniques of administrative improvement. As part of this, you will be looking at organization and methods, work study and work management, e-governance and information technology, management tools like network analysis, MIS, PERT and CPM. Of course, e-governance and all these things will be there in your polity governance paper. They are all part of reforms. All of them will be there in your polity governance paper. And these work study, work management and other things, you will be using them in your answers in general studies while writing. So after completing these 4 topics of our syllabus, then we will be going to the other dynamic topics of our syllabus. And from here onwards, all other topics are there in your general studies. From here onwards, of course, all these things are there. Rest of the topics are there in your general studies. We will be studying about district administration since independence in paper 2. District administration since independence on page 3, 3rd chapter. You are looking at changing role of district collector, union state local relations, imperatives of development management and law and order administration, district administration and democratic decentralization. You will be looking at all these topics. As I said, in your polity governance every year one question will be there about district administration. A very, very important topic, changing role of district collector. Then we will go to rural development, institutions and agencies since independence, rural development programs, foci and strategies, decentralization and Panchayat Raj, 73rd Amendment. This is your polity governance paper started with the first question about this Panchayat Raj. And I won't be surprised if it is not asked for essay this year, because we are celebrating 25 years of 73rd Amendment. A very, very important topic, both from your polity governance, ethics and essay point of view. Next, we will be looking at urban local government. As part of this, we will be talking about municipal governance, main features, structures, finances and problem areas, 74th Amendment, global local debate, new localism, development dynamics, politics and administration with special reference to city management. It is there in your all 4 papers. In general studies paper 1, you have urbanization, problems of urbanization. In paper 2, urban development. In paper 3, as part of economy, urban infrastructure and disaster management in paper 3. And in paper 4, case studies. Every year, one case study will always be related to urban development. It can be about rural urban migration. It can be about disaster management. It can be about sustainable development. A very, very important topic. And of course, a very important topic again for essay, urban development. Why? Because again, we are celebrating the 25 years of 73rd and 74th Amendments. This year they can be definitely asked. So, I don't have to tell you the importance of this topic. Then, after doing this, we will go to other topics of our syllabus. Then you come back to in paper 1, organizations, the 4th chapter, organizations, theories, systems and contingency theories, structures and forms, ministries and departments. These ministries and departments, corporations, companies, boards and commissions will be doing as part of a union government chapter in paper 2. Both of them are the same. Ad hoc and advisory bodies, headquarters, field relationships, All these things are there in your Indian administration. Regulatory authorities and public-private partnerships. All these are part of what we call issue areas. So from these topics, whatever the topics that we will be discussing now, we'll be looking at now. Maximum questions will be asked in your polity, governance and economy from these topics. Regulatory authorities, almost on every year the question will be about regulatory authorities, either in your polity, governance or economy. Regulatory authorities. This year also it will be asked. Why? Because in your economy it will be asked because of the failure of regulatory authorities in the banking system, which resulted in massive scams like Nirav Modi and other things. So very, very important topic, regulatory authorities. Public-private partnership, a very important topic for essay. It was asked for essay also sometime back, 250 marks, public-private partnerships. This topic is there in your general studies paper, in public administration paper 1, Indian administration, polity, governance and economy. I think before last year in your economy, public-private partnership was asked, Indian economy, it was asked. So very, very important topic. This is what we call dynamic aspects of your syllabus. Maximum questions will be asked from these topics. Then we will look at the accountability and control topic, the next chapter, accountability and control. As part of this concepts of accountability and control, legislative, executive and judicial control over administration. These things will be studying as part of Indian administration only. Legislature, executive and judiciary, the three organs of the state. Citizen and administration. This citizen and administration, all these topics are there in your polity, governance and ethics papers. Citizen and administration, role of media, interest groups, voluntary organizations, civil society, citizen charters, RTI, social audit. These things will be there in your polity, governance and ethics papers, and mostly these things will be asked in your essay topics. This year, one of the topics of your essay is role of social media. So every year these topics are asked in your essays, and RTI, citizen charters, social audits. Social audit I think was asked this year in your polity governance also. RTA will be asked, RTA was asked as case study in your ethics paper this year, right information for 20 marks in case studies. So in your ethics paper. So very, very important topics. All of them are very important topics from your GS point of view. Then we will look at administrative law, meaning, scope and significance, dicey on administrative law, delegated legislation, administrative tribunals. Again, this delegated legislation and administrative tribunals is there in your polity governance paper. It will be asked routinely, tribunals. I think before last year it was about NHRC, they have asked. This year they have asked about National Commission for Women, tribunals. Every year one question will be there in your polity governance paper about these tribunals. A very important topic again. Then after doing all these things, we come to the other topics in your Indian administration, law and order administration after urban local governments. Law and order administration. What are we looking at as part of law and order administration? We are looking at British legacy, National Police Commission, investigative agencies, role of central and state agencies including paramilitary forces in maintenance of law and order and countering insurgency and terrorism, criminalization of politics and administration, police public relations, reforms in police. A very important topic. It is given as internal security in your general studies paper 3. We will be studying all those things. You will be talking about terrorism, Naxalism, communalism, regionalism and cyber security. These are all a part of law and order administration. And of course, you will be talking about paramilitary agencies, paramilitary forces like CRPF, BSF and other forces. And you will be talking about police reforms. you will be studying about police reforms. Why police in India is corrupt and inefficient, unaccountable. Why India is still considered a police state in spite of 70 years of independence. Why people don't enjoy rights, basic rights. That is what you will be. This year in your general studies paper, a question was asked, what is the relation between law and freedom or rights of the citizens? What is the relationship? What is the relation between the law and freedom and rights of the citizens? Do more number of laws ensure more freedom for the people, or take the other extreme? If there is no law, can people enjoy rights? Pardon? We are slaves of law only to be able to be free. With law, can you be free? Or without law, can you be free? AFSPA is there, Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Does it give you freedom? Yes? Yes or no? Not at all. So what is the relation between law and freedoms? So that is what you will be studying. These things you will be studying in your ethics paper also as part of political philosophers. All of them. Everything is interrelated. That's what you must know. You must know that everything is interrelated. Polity is related to economy, related to administration, related to philosophy, related to social issues, related to geography and history. You must know these interrelationships. So coming back here, as I said, we'll be looking at all these things as part of this topic. Then finally, significant issues in Indian administration. Values in public services. As we have said, this topic is the essence of your entire ethics paper. Entire ethics paper is about values in administration. Values in public services. Then regulatory commissions, which we will be studying as part of regulatory authorities in paper 1 also. NHRC. As I said, NHRC was asked in your polity governance 2 years back. Then problems of administration in coalition regimes. This was included in 2008 when the country was experiencing coalition governments. Now we have a single party rule. So this topic is not relevant now. Maybe next year, if we are lucky, BJP would be losing power, and if we are extremely lucky, Mayawati would become Prime Minister. So that entire administration will be part of Maya. So then again this topic will become relevant. At present it is not, because what we have at present is single party rule. Next, citizen administration interface. Again this topic is there in your polity governance and ethics. Issue areas, corruption and administration, most important topic of our syllabus, because it is there in your social issues, polity governance, economy and ethics. Entire ethics paper is about corruption, or absence of ethics results in corruption. Every year you have good number of questions about corruption, very good number of questions. You have to be sufficiently knowledgeable about corruption. Of course, once you get into services, that is what you will be doing. That's a different thing. But here we will be studying what is corruption and what are the factors responsible for corruption and all those kind of things. And you will be studying about how to become more corrupt also. Because as part of reasons for growing corruption in India, you will come to know why there is so much of corruption in our country. So that once you get into services, you will use that information to become more corrupt. Okay. Next, disaster management. Of course, this topic is there in your General Studies paper 3, and it is there in your ethics case studies also. Disaster management. So this is what our entire syllabus is all about. If nothing else, what we can say is that this subject is highly dynamic and very interesting. Unlike other things like say geography or psychology or anything else. In geography, you will be studying about sedimentary rocks and you will become one. Okay. And in psychology, you will be studying about depression, and someone has to cure your depression. But when it comes to public administration, it is highly dynamic, entertaining, interesting, and extremely relevant. If you enjoy the preparation, you will definitely do well in the examination. Not only in your public administration, as I said, at least 800 marks of your general studies papers. You will be doing very well, provided you understand the soul of the syllabus, not the skeleton. Understand the soul of the syllabus, you will be doing all those things. Next, the question that comes is, what about the study material? How much you have to study? What about the study material? You have lots of books. Since the public administration is a fastest growing academic discipline in the world at this point of time, fastest growing academic discipline, obviously you have a huge amount of material available, huge amount of study material available now for this discipline. So it becomes difficult for you to select. Let me give you only few books. Rest of the things we will be doing everything in the class. First one is Administrative Thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. Administrative Thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. This is for the second, third chapters of our syllabus, along with the CPA. RICS is there. Second, third chapters, administrative thought and administrative behavior, along with CPA. This is what one of the important books. Then one standard book you can study is Public Administration Theory and Practice, I think, by Fadia and Fadia. Fadia, Fadia and Fadia. Public Administration Theory and Practice. For paper 1, this is for in general for paper 1. Then Indian Administration or Indian Public Administration by Goyal and Arora, Rajni Goyal and Arora. Rajni Goyal and Arora. And one more book is New Horizons of Public Administration. New Horizons, HORI. New Horizons of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. Mohit Bhattacharya. These four are the basic books, out of which the most important one is this one. Most important one is this one. This is what from the book's point of view. Apart from this, you have to study a lot of other material. What is it? Second Administrative Reforms Commission. Second Administrative Reforms Commission, it has submitted 15 reports. It has submitted 15 reports. And all of them are important from our examination point of view, except one or two. All of them are important. Not only from your public administration, more importantly from your GS point of view. You know, reports on union government and administration, report on RTI, right to information, report on e-governance, then report on ethics in governance, your entire ethics question paper, paper 4 of US, UPSC shamelessly copies from this report only, and they will ask questions. UPSC don't have any ethics. For ethics, they copy from ethics report. They don't even acknowledge also. In India, we don't have any intellectual property rights. Ethics in governance, then crisis management, disaster management. Again, UPSC copies your disaster management questions directly from this report, crisis management. Then rural development, one report on rural development, another on urban development. Then citizen-centric administration, a report on citizen-centric administration. Then you have social capital, a report on social capital. You have all these things like citizen charters, social audits, self-help groups, regulatory authorities. All of them will be there in those reports. Then you have report on public order, law and order administration, public order. Then you have report on terrorism. Every year, your internal security questions of your general studies are directly picked up from these reports. This year also, the statement on terrorism was directly picked up from this report only. In your general studies paper 3, internal security. And you have a report on state government and administration. Then you have report on financial management, budgetary reforms and other things. Like this, what UPSC has done is that it has taken all these 15 reports and divided them into your 4 papers of GS. Very, very important from your both public administration and general studies point of view, these reports. These reports form the heart and the soul of your entire syllabus, 15 reports. Why they are evergreen? Because recommendations are never implemented. So every year the same questions will be asked. You are writing the same answers. The recommendations of these reports every year. That is what you will be doing. Same questions will be asked and the same answers will be written. As I said, recommendations will never be implemented. All these 15 reports. Then after this, we have another thing, Punji Commission on center-state relations. Punji Commission on center-state relations. PUNCHA, Punji Commission on Center-State Relations. Again, very important because you have to quote these recommendations in your Indian administration and polity governance papers, whether it is related to governor, related to center-state relations, financial, administrative, legislative. You have to quote all these recommendations. It has submitted 7 reports. Punji Commission has submitted 7 reports. And after this, next important source of information for you is Niti Aayog reports. Niti Aayog. Earlier we had Planning Commission, now Niti Aayog. What do? They submit reports so that students preparing for UPSC can read them. Beyond that, those reports do not have any significance. At least since nobody reads them, UPSC wants you to read. Similarly, if you look at the government implements so many development and welfare schemes which nobody knows. Narendra Modi, at worst or at best a narcissistic person, since nobody is really bothered about those schemes, he made sure that all those people who prepare for UPSC have no option but to remember all those schemes by asking a lot many questions in your prelims about those schemes only. This year also the same trend continued. All those schemes which nobody knows, including Narendra Modi, okay, they were asked in your prelims. So obviously, same is the case with Niti Aayog reports. Nobody reads them. Nobody takes them seriously, but you have to read them because they provide a very good information, excellent source of information for your preparation. So this is what again which you have to read. Then the most important thing is newspapers. Most important thing is newspapers. I will only say one thing, as I keep on saying all the time, your preparation for this examination starts and ends with newspaper reading. It is as simple as that one. Okay. After finishing newspapers, if you still have time, read more newspapers. That is what they say, that when you want your economy to be developed, when you want your country to be developed, they say that only one thing: construct roads. After constructing roads, if you still have some money left, construct more roads. Automatically development takes place. Look at Northeast and Kashmir and other places. Why they are not developed? For the simple reason that there is no infrastructure. Roads. Why China is developing so fast, progressing so fast? They focus on this most important part of infrastructure. Similarly, when it comes to UPSC preparation, read newspapers. If you still have time, read more newspapers. You can read everything. You can read Hindu, Indian Express, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Dawn published from Karachi also. Okay. But read newspapers. Very important. You can read. You have to read Washington Post, New York Times, Times London, Guardian. Name it. You can read all the newspapers. Okay. Very important. Even this year prelims also, if you have read Hindu regularly, only Hindu, you could have answered at least 30 questions very easily in prelims. I am talking about only newspaper, not talking about anything else. Same is the case with your mains also, both for public administration as well as general studies. Very important. Now newspapers, the most important source of information. If you still have some time left, then you can read magazines like Yojana. If you are reading newspapers and all these things, they are not that much important, but if you, for your own satisfaction, you can read them. Yojana and Kurukshetra for only mostly social issues. You can read these things, because you will be using that information in your Indian administration also, public administration also. So this is what your study material, if I have to say. Not much, I think. Is it too big or too large? Each report of second year is only around 400 pages. You don't have to read all the 400 pages. You have to read only 395. Okay. And you don't have to read all the 15 reports. You have to read only 14. There is one report on NREGA, but again this year it can be asked, because government is doing so much faults with NREGA. Once Narendra Modi says that it is the example of inefficiency of UPA government. Now the government is increasing its spending on NREGA in the budget. So there is so much of inconsistency. So that report also becomes important. So you have to read all the 15, not 14. There. And Punchi Commission, 7 reports, each report around 300 pages. Not much. Okay. So you have a choice, reading all these things or our class notes. You can decide whatever you want. This reading all these things means doing everything on your own, so that you have the satisfaction of doing everything on your own, or you can depend on class notes. Either way, it is your wish. So coming back here, this is what the whole of public administration is all about. This is whole of public administration is all about. So what we will be doing is that at least for the next 1 week or so, since you don't know what to read from newspapers. How many of you have this habit of reading newspapers before preparing for this examination? Why? Any problem? What do you read? Delhi Times. In newspapers, what do you read? Delhi Times, where all the film news will be there. Or the sports news. Which one do you read from newspapers? Yes, those who have raised their hands, their time has come. What do you read from newspapers? Pardon? Editorials. Why? Just because they are there. Editorials don't give you information; they give you opinion. They give you opinion. And what else do you read in newspapers? Political news. Okay. Sports news? No. They are not interested in sports. Very good. And anything else? Did you find anything interesting in today's newspaper, Hindu or Indian Express? That's why what we will be doing is that tomorrow onwards I will tell you what to read from newspapers at least for 1 week, so that you will come to know. Otherwise, you will be starting reading from the Hindu, printed and published from Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Coimbatore, like that, and the last page, edited and managed by Kasturi Rangan and Sons, like that. Okay, you will be reading everything, not required. Okay, because you think when you start reading the newspaper, you think that everything is important, and obviously you will miss the important things. So we will be doing this towards the end of our class from tomorrow onwards, the newspapers. If you can, you please get the newspapers when you come to the class, so that at least for 1 week we will be doing those things. You will come to know about them. We will be doing both from GS as well as PubAd point of view. There is no difference between GS and PubAd as such. News items are news items. We will be doing from both GS and PubAd point of view. We will be doing those things. So that is what we will be doing. And shall we start with the syllabus? Yes? Shall we start with the first topic of syllabus? Or do you want me to start from tomorrow? For a change, I am asking. Normally in the class I don't give any choices. When the choices are given, you always take it. Tomorrow. I think there is some James Bond film is there. What is it? Tomorrow? Let me test your knowledge of films. You don't watch movies? Tomorrow never dies. Yes. So tomorrow never dies. We'll change it. Tomorrow never comes. Have you ever seen tomorrow? Have you ever seen tomorrow? Why? Nobody can ever see tomorrow. Why? Because when tomorrow comes, it becomes today. So don't worry, I am not asking any philosophical questions here. These things you will be talking about in your ethics paper, not in your public administration. Okay, let me start with the syllabus. Okay, since you said tomorrow, obviously I cannot go by your choices. So we will start with syllabus. Okay. So let us start with the first topic of our syllabus. This introduction, meaning, scope and significance of public administration. Meaning, scope and significance of public administration. So what are we looking at here? We will be starting with organizations. We will be starting with organizations. What is an organization? Then we will try to define administration. We will try to define administration. Then we will try to define public and private administration. Public and private administration. Then we will look at various definitions given to public administration. Various definitions given to public administration. Then we will look at the significance of a public administration. Why public administration is important. Significance of public administration. Then we will look at the scope of a public administration. Then what are the important features of a public administration? What are the important features of public administration? This is what we shall be discussing. This is what we shall be discussing. After this, then we go to the evaluation of the discipline of public administration, starting with Woodrow Wilson. So, if we have to define public administration, the term public administration, first we should know what is administration. We keep on talking about administration. We should know what is administration. To understand what is administration, we must know about organizations. To understand about administration, we must know about organizations. Let us see what are these organizations. Let us see what are these organizations. What is the definition we give to an organization? You can take down the definition. When two or more people come together, to achieve their common objectives, through coordination. When two or more people come together to achieve their common objectives through coordination, organizations are formed. Organizations are formed. So, what is an organization? When two or more people come together to achieve their common objectives through coordination. The first question here is, why should people come together? Why do we need organizations? Why should people come together? Why do we need organizations? Yes, because human beings are incapable of satisfying all their needs for themselves. We are not capable. If we are hungry, we cannot produce our own food. If we want education, we cannot educate ourselves. And if we have problem with our health, we cannot cure our own diseases. If you look at all the creatures in this world, all the species in this world, human beings are the only species who are hopelessly dependent on others for their survival. We cannot live alone. We cannot live alone. And that is the reason why organizations are formed. Do we see this kind of organization in any other animal kingdom? Have you seen any prime ministers in dogs or presidents in pigs? You don't. Our prime ministers and presidents can be pigs and dogs. That's a different thing. Okay, but we don't see them. Have you seen any dog doctor and dog engineer? No. Our engineers and doctors can be dogs. That's a different thing. But we don't see them. Why? Because why don't we see them? Why? Because they can live alone. Whereas in case of human beings, we are the only species on this earth who cannot lead our life without the help of others. That is the reason why, since the beginning of our civilization, we always lived together. If you go back to the ancient period of our civilization, what is the reason why at that point of time people lived together in groups? Because they had to protect themselves from animals. They had to protect themselves from nature. That is the reason why we always lived together. And that is how organizations are formed. Organizations are formed when two or more people come together in a voluntary manner to achieve their common objectives through coordination. And as I said, this is the most important reason for formation of organizations. because of our incapacity to satisfy all our needs. So then once organizations are formed, what are the examples of organizations? Can you give? Yes, the smallest of organization is family. Smallest of the organization is family. And the largest of the organization is United Nations. Either from family to United Nations. Every organization exists and survives only when it has common objectives. Common objectives. From the smallest of the organization to the largest of organizations. You can see that organizations exist to achieve the common objectives of its members. So once an organization is formed, what do organizations do? What are the activities performed in organizations? When the organizations are created, they are created to achieve certain objectives, specific purposes. What do they do to achieve those objectives? What do they do? What do they do? What are the activities performed in an organization? What are the activities? Let us see. What is the most important activity? What is the most important activity of an organization? Formulation of objectives. The most important activity is formulation of objectives, common objectives. No organization can survive without common objectives among its members. Every person in the organization must be working to achieve those common objectives. For example, you take the case of coalition governments. What is the reason why coalition governments fail all the time? Look at what is happening in Karnataka now. Coalition government is there, JDS is there, Congress is there. They are fighting with each other. They are fighting, within themselves. They are fighting with BJP. They are fighting with people and everyone else all the time. Why? Because they don't have common objectives. JDS wants more cabinet berths. Congress party wants more cabinet berths. Within the Congress party, everyone wants to be a minister. All the 78 MLAs believe that they should have been made at least chief minister. Okay. So obviously what happens then? Having so many individual conflicting objectives, can the government ever be efficient? Obviously not. What is the reason why UPA government was a failure the second term? Why? Because conflicting objectives. You take the case of families also. What is the reason why families break? Because when the family members have different objectives. So whenever you want any organization to succeed, survive for longer periods of time, the most important thing is all the people who are part of the organization must have common objectives. Any organization, I am not talking about only these civilized organizations, even Naxalites also have their objectives. Terrorists, they are committed more to their objectives than others. That's the reason why they are successful. That's the reason why. Imagine, giving up your life, giving up your life for a cause is a very, very difficult thing. That's why terrorists are always heroes. They are giving up their life, whatever may be the cause, because they are committed to the objectives. What is the reason why our bureaucracy is inefficient? Because they are not committed. Common objectives. Okay. So the first activity that any organization has to perform once it is created is finding out the common objectives of all the people. what you call as a formulation of objectives. Okay, we have created, we have come out with the objectives. Then what should we do next? What is the next activity? See, entire public administration is based on common sense, nothing else. All the thinkers whom we should be studying, their ideas are based on a simple, basic, minimum common sense. But the only thing that is problematic is that common sense is the most uncommon thing in the world. Okay. So coming back here, after formulating the objectives, what will we do? Yes, the next step will be planning. Planning. We must do the planning. Why do we need planning? We need planning because resources are limited, objectives to be achieved are unlimited. Planning helps us in optimum utilization of resources, maximum utilization of resources. Planning helps us in optimum utilization of resources. Everything should be done in a planned manner. For example, you are preparing for the UPSC examination. Your preparation should be in a completely planned manner. Every day you have to do, starting with medium term planning, short term planning and very short term planning. Medium term in the form of next 2 to 3 months what you are going, short term in the next 15 days, very short term in the next 1 week what you are going to do. Every day you must plan, you must plan. Why? Because the time is limited and the amount of things you have to study are very vast. You have to plan the things. That is the reason why we study, as part of the thinkers, work study, time study and other things. You have to plan the things, how much time you are going to allocate to different parts of your syllabus so that you can become successful. For example, if there are 24 hours in a day, 20 hours sleeping, okay, remaining 4 hours how you are going to study? Yes? No? How many hours do you sleep? Average? You can speak truth, no problem. I will not be biased against you. How many hours you are planning to study? No idea? Yes? I hope all of you are preparing for this examination, right? Yes. So how many hours you are planning to study in a day? Pardon? 6 to 8. Is it like going from New Delhi to Lucknow? Exactly how many hours? Yes. After attending classes and sleeping and everything else, you must study for minimum 8 hours a day. Minimum 8 hours a day for at least minimum 18 months. Consistency. Then you can dream of being successful in this examination. Consistency is required. Today you have studied for 8 hours. Tomorrow you studied for 10 hours. Day after tomorrow only 1 hour. And we also have this habit of taking breaks also within study. You study for 10 minutes and you take a break for 2 hours because you have very hard. So that is the reason why you have to plan the things. In those 8 hours what you are going to study minimum. That is what is called work study, which we will be studying as part of Taylor's scientific management theory. Planning is very, very important. Nobody can ever be successful in life without the proper planning. Same is the case with organizations. Organizations can never be successful without proper planning. For the simple reason that resources are limited and objectives to be achieved are unlimited. So once the planning is done, then what is next step? Yes. After planning is done, the next step is division of work. The next step is a division of work. Why do we require division of work? Why do we need division of work? Efficiency will come later. Yes. Why? Because even if you are Narendra Modi, a superman, you cannot do all the tasks for yourself. A single person cannot perform all the tasks by himself, because you cannot be there in the finance ministry, health ministry, agriculture ministry at the same time and do all the tasks. Now you have to divide the work, for the simple reason that a single person cannot accomplish all the objectives, howsoever efficient that person might be. It is not possible at all. That is the reason why you require division of work. The most important principle of any organizational theory is a division of work. And this division of work is there since the time our civilization started. Whenever organizations are created, the first thing that you will see is the division of work among the members of organization. For example, if you go back to ancient civilization, when we are talking about the family system, people used to live in groups. Nomads, they were mostly nomads, they used to live in groups. There was division of work. Male members of the family would be hunting for food, and female members would be eating food. Division of work. So that is what we say about division of work. Everyone has to perform that task. Right? After division of work, what is the next step? After division of work, what will we do? With the division of work comes specialization. With the division of work comes specialization. One person would be performing the same task again and again and again. What happens? He would become efficient in that particular task. Specialization. Then after this, what is the next step? Next, you have to recruit people to various positions in the organization. Recruitment comes. On the basis of division of work and specialization, you recruit people to various positions in the organization. After recruitment, you must provide training to them to make organizations efficient. The next step will be training, so that they become efficient in their positions. After that comes the financial part of organization, financial management, finances, financial management, finances. Why? Because no organization can survive without finances. No organization. Is there any organization in the world which can survive without finances? Can you name any organization which can survive without finances? No organization. You take public organizations, private organizations, charitable organizations, religious institutions. You take religious institutions, temples. They also require money. In fact, the gods require more money than human beings. They require more money all the time. They always want more money. No organization can survive without finances. Why United Nations is helpless now? Why? Because it is hopelessly dependent on United States for its survival. Finances. That is the reason why United Nations is a toothless organization, because United States controls it. Why? Because finances. Why America is the most powerful country? Because its contribution to global GDP and global trade is the maximum. Why nobody takes care of India? Recently, this summit, G7 summit, and other summits are being held in Canada right now. There people were asked about the global leaders. Almost 95% of them have said that they don't know who is Narendra Modi. Why? Because he might be popular in India. Once you go out of the country, they think that it is, if you show his photo to them, they think that it is more part of another animal kingdom. Okay. Jurassic World. Okay. They don't know. Obviously, why? Because everyone can recognize Donald Trump. In India, everyone can recognize Donald Trump. Why? Because America is the most powerful country in the world. Its president is extremely popular all over the world. Whereas, India, one of the poorest countries in the world. Obviously, once you go out of the country, nobody knows about you. Finances. That's the reason why our nations have to look at finances, financial management. Then comes implementation. Implementation of objectives. Implementation of objectives. Those who are created, they are expected to implement. And finally comes evaluation of objectives. Evaluation of objectives. That means you are evaluating the performance of our nation in terms of the objectives you had set for the organization, to see whether the organization is efficient or not. You will evaluate the performance. These are the activities that are performed in an organization, any organization. As I keep on saying, these activities are the same for any organization, public organizations, private organizations, religious organizations, anything. These are the activities that are performed. And we say that all these activities combined together, we call it as administration. So take down the definition of administration. Administration may be defined as the sum of some SUM of all the activities performed in an organization, over a period of time. So when we are talking about administration, it is the aggregate sum of all the activities. So what are the activities? Right from formulation of objectives to evaluation of performance. All these things combined together, we call it as administration. We can stop it here for today, and tomorrow onwards we will continue with the rest of the things. Tomorrow we will give the technical definitions given by various thinkers for administration. Otherwise, administration means sum of all the activities performed by an organization over a period of time. So tomorrow we will complete all these things. Tomorrow we will see the definition of administration, then we will see public administration, we will see the nature, scope and significance of public administration and all those things tomorrow.